Okay, so today the time has come. That was a terrible intro. We're just doing the head gravity tour. Okay, so it's 98 square inch head. 98 square inch head size, 1619 string pattern, and it's 305 grams in weight. So, got that out of the way. The thing that I'll say about this racket is how beautiful is that paint job. Like, I personally hated the old one. Like, I wasn't a fan of it at all, but I think going with the gloss, you know, fantastic. I think it just looks absolutely stunning. What else can I say about this racket? Not a lot. Should I just hand it to a guy who can actually use it? So we're going to give it to Dan.
Well, we'll give it a go first, and then
let's get the verdict.
I've never been keen on the shape of the gravity, but actually this one with the new colours looks pretty nice.
It could convince you. Could seduce you.
Could do. Actually, really feels solid. Weight's pretty good as well. Balance is nice. Flatter backhand, still gets the good power. Size sliced, pretty good control. Yeah, still in, just. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I mean, I got to say, this is probably the one for me.
It's making the swoosh when you hit the ball. It's like,
I mean, especially on the forehand side, it was really, really solid.
I thought you'd like that.
I think this racket would be quite good for outside as well, because it's a little bit more forgiving with the bigger head size. I think probably, depending on the level that you play at, the strings could go quite quickly in this racket, just because of the more open pattern with the 16-19. But very good power. Oh, just out. Good for doubles.
I saw that coming out. I was like, please rinse it down the line.
I'm really surprised.
Yeah, it sounds a joke when you're hitting it.
I'm still not
convinced on
the head shape, but the performance from it, I'm really shocked.
Yeah.
And I tried the previous gravity, and I didn't feel that before.
Do you think that they've leveled up the material a little bit, and the paint job makes a difference?
Like I said before, you know, I think Head have put a lot of money into the materials, and I think that this racket is actually very, very well built, and it's really solid all the way throughout the racket. I didn't feel that from other rackets I've tried, but definitely
so
this one.
You tried the Radical MP and the Radical. The Radical. This is the MP. The Radical Pro and the Radical MP. Yeah. And you felt like this was,
I think, for me, the best performing one that I've tried. I mean, maybe it's just, I don't know.
Maybe because you've shaken off that little bit of rust.
Maybe, exactly.
You dusted off the cobwebs.
I really think that this is a solid racket all round, and I think this would appeal to a lot of players.
Yeah.
Not only, you know, from a wide range, from sort of pro players even through to sort of recreational players, really, because I think it's a little bit for everybody. I mean, I think that's why I found it so easy.
In my opinion, it looks like a pro stock racket. Does it perform like a pro stock? Like you would imagine pros using this?
I think it does. Yeah, I really do. I mean, again, going back to the weight, I think that it maybe is a little bit light still for me personally, but I think on a whole, from a general player's point of view, I think it's a good, solid racket.
But it's got the room to be built up because it's a lower weight as well, so
and
very
again,
versatile.
I think this racket is already very good as it is. I mean, I think that if you wanted to go up in weight a little bit, you could potentially put a little bit on the side again, but I don't think it necessarily needs it.
No.
But for me personally, I probably would try it, and if I didn't like it, I'd probably take it off again and I'd be able to play with this, because I feel really solid with that, and I felt that it gave you great power. the precision actually, even when I accelerated, I thought it was going to be a little bit more uncontrollable, but actually the more I actually swing.
It's because the gaps in the string are pretty big as well, so that normally gives you a little bit more pop, a little bit more spin.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Like when I was hitting there, that you know the spaces in between the strings are very, very wide, which will give you the power, but also it will be able to give you that grip on the ball as well.
Do you think that's the head shape as well? Because you were saying, you know, about the head shape,
it
maybe
seems a
that's
little
like
bit
a
wide.
necessary thing.
It seems a little bit wide, so when you look at it, but I think that's maybe because I've also just played with the Radical, which is a little bit of a more narrow frame. So I was really surprised the amount of control, but I think this would suit indoor players and outdoor players. So I think it's definitely worth a try.
Volleys?
Yeah, let's
Should we go a little volley? Watch out, Ella. These could go anywhere. You're in the firing line.
It's quite solid, but I think again this is a little bit more like the MP Radical. It's a little bit more explosive off the ball and not so much feel like the Pro.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But again, still pretty solid, but again, not as much feel as the other one.
More of a baseliner's racket.
I think so, yeah, more of an aggressive baseliner.
Big server?
Yeah. Likes to play outside a little bit.
Sorry.
But also, it seems pretty controllable indoors as well, which is nice. Sorry. Or maybe it's just my volleys.
Yeah. Saying that, I mean, your volleys aren't too bad. You won a doubles chally?
Yeah, I won a doubles challenger in the States, and I made final of another one, so not
you
too
can't
bad.
volley that. Not volleying that bad, huh? It's not like you were using
Probably more of my returns, though.
You weren't using a Prestige at the time, were you? Right, let's put it in the hands of the amateur. There you go. Thank you. Oh, shock absorber. We just have to, you know, I need it. I don't time the ball in the middle of the strings every time, do I? Who do you think I am? Professional tennis player? What's that? Right, let's give this thing a go. The gravity. Oh yeah. Oof. Straight away, like this thing just launches the ball. So light as well, like maneuverable, but it doesn't feel like it loses. It doesn't feel like it loses the stability. It's more. Yeah, very good feeling on the frame, like not struggling whatsoever to get power or depth. Getting quite a lot of spin. It's weird, it's not how I felt this racket was going to feel at all. I felt like it was going to be a bit stiff and unforgiving. I don't know why, but it's definitely a lot more pop on this than I imagined. And again, it's not like uncontrollable. It's almost like a nice, like reined in. I feel like I can hit consistently with this thing at a really high pace and still get control. Even though the gaps in between the strings are pretty big, that means more power, more spin, I feel like I can still control it. And also the beam width is quite thin, which is quite nice. Like, you don't normally get that with bigger headed rackets or wider headed rackets. So, right, here we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm really getting that launch and the depth from it for free, really. So much rip on the ball. The other thing I'll say is it makes such a nice sound on the contact. It's like a swoosh. I've never heard anything like it, and it would have looked way better if I made that last ball, but it's almost like a swoosh when you hit the ball. It's weird, like not really had that on another racket. You'll when you hit with this thing, you'll realize what I mean. It's like a, you know, normally rackets are like a thud, it's like a vroom, whereas this is like a swoosh. Should we go one more?
Yeah.
Don't know if you'll be able to hear it on the microphone, but I think it maybe has something to do with the quality of the frame and also the speed that I'm able to generate with this thing. Oh no. Ooh. Yeah, I see what Dan means about the, you know, I think this is probably a bit better from the baseline because it is more of a power racket, it's more spinny, more reactive, but again, like, I don't feel like it's uncontrollable at the net, I just feel like I've probably played with better rackets at the net, but I imagine this thing is pretty good for dropping some bombs on serve.
Oh, there it is.
No footwork, all wrist. Yeah, it's got so much pop on the serve. I mean, I'm just getting like power for free here. I can see why Mr. Alex uses it. That's Zverev, by the way. Wide. I mean, it's weird on like the spin shots.
Yeah.
The sound of it is like a swoosh. It's like, I can hear it in my ear.
Oh yeah, I can hear it.
Seconds?
I can hear it.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Boom.
It's very good power. Very solid.
Make your comeback with that racket.
I don't think I'm quite ready for that at the moment.
Vets.
Yeah, maybe the over 35s. Let's see how it reacts on the second serve. I hit second serve, see how it reacts.
Give it a bit of juice.
Yeah, it's still pretty solid actually. I was a little bit worried about the stability.
Kicks up quite a bit.
Yeah. Again, I think it's because of the wider gaps. It really grips the ball. Let's go wide first serve. See how it takes the slice. Again, there seems to be like a strange sound that Sean was talking about.
Swoosh.
Like a bit of a swooshing noise.
Gravity's too much pace for me. Let's debrief. So what are your thoughts? What are you feeling?
I think,
Just got all the rackets on
I mean,
show here. Put them
having
away in
served with it now, I think it was very good from the baseline.
Yeah.
I think it was okay on the serve actually. It wasn't too bad. I think I got a little bit more pop off the two radicals than I got from this one. But I think as a control wise, I thought it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Having said that, there is a but.
Go for it.
If you do get a little bit sort of nervous,
Yeah.
and you don't kind of fully commit to your shots, I think that this could be
A boomstick should fly.
a little bit. So I am going to contradict myself there in a little bit. If you commit to the ball and you're very confident and you hit it, I think it's good pace and I think it's very direct. I just think that if you kind of back out of it slightly and you become a bit nervous, that's when you could have some problems with this.
Yeah.
It's
more
know,
powerful, isn't it?
If that's
like,
how
sure.
you felt. I mean,
yeah, I mean that's the only thing that I would feel would hold me back from using it. But you know, like the way that I look at that racket is like it would almost like forced me to transform
commit.
my game a bit and just commit. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd have no other choice for me, I think. And you can see with like Zverev, you know, he uses that, doesn't he? He uses 18-20 or 16-19.
I'm not 100% sure on Zverev. I think that he would probably use a bit more of a closed pattern.
18-20 probably.
I would say so. I'm not 100% on that. But I mean, Rublev would be using this obviously in a much probably heavier capacity.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
But he would probably be using this sort of frame, and it shows with the more aggressive baseliner, he doesn't, you know, back out on anything, commits to every ball.
They're guys that you can see like on the tour that they have to go after everything. That's the way they play. Like Zverev has to almost hit 2 first serves, and you can see that when they get a little bit when Zverev gets a bit nervy, you know, and not saying it's the racket's fault, but like it helps him when he's on. But then you know what I mean. It is a racket where you do have to really commit. The power is there, you know what I mean. It's just using it the right way, like letting it go.
I think it's finding that balance. As I say, all rackets have different things. You know, one will be if you fully commit to one, it probably doesn't have as much power as this one. But then again, it probably has more control when you get a bit more nervous.
That's what I really liked about the Head Extreme. Like I felt like I could let the ball go at any situation, and because of the, it's not. I don't feel like the Extreme is powerful. I feel like it's more controlled and more spinny, and I feel like when I get in those situations, I could. I mean, you use it as well. Like,
yeah, I mean, I used it for again slightly maybe different versions. I mean,
you used the Pro one, didn't you?
I used more the Pro, but it was just very, very solid for me when I was nervous, and then when I wanted to let go, I felt like I got that extra bit as well, which was a very good balance for me, and that's why I think overall as a profile, it was a 98 square inch head. It didn't look big. It didn't look like a, you know, for example, like a Babolat Pure Drive, but it was you know, overly powerful. So it felt like for me, especially playing a little bit indoors and outdoors, it felt like a good balance. I'm not saying that this isn't a good balance. I just think that if you do get nervous or tends to back out of shots a little bit, you could have a few problems with this. But having said that, if you want easier power, this is probably one. Again, there's no right or wrong. I think the racket looks great.
And I mean, let's be honest, it looks sick. I mean, if you want a sick paint job, like
I mean,
go
like,
for that. Like I mean, the paint job alone was like tempting me. You know,
sparkly blue, and it almost looks like it changes colour from the different angles that you have it in your hand, which is nice.
It's tempting you.
It is tempting. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Feels a joke. Like
you know, I think that I think overall the weight is very good actually, and I don't think I would have to really adjust this racket to play with it. I still get a good enough power with it being 305.
So so question for you: if you were going to come back now, let's say you had 2 years to play, and you were like, right, I'm gonna do it. Teasing this, by the way, he's actually going to do this. You're like, I've got 2 years to play. You know, I wanna get as high as I can, and I want to play in the way that is going to be, you know, in keeping with the modern game. So like you want to like evolve with the game, like you want to go with it. You've got a Radical, you've got a Gravity, you've got the Extreme. Well, you got 2 Radicals. All 98 square inch head, 16-19. Which one are you picking?
I think if I had to pick out of all of them, it would be between the MP Radical and the Gravity. If I had to pick out those 3.
Interesting.
Probably more towards this one, to the Gravity. But again, I just feel that the Extreme is such a good one because I feel like that the Extreme is almost like a little bit of a balance between the Radical and the Gravity, and it's like a little bit more of in between. So again, I still feel like it has that more control, and the stability is there more than this one. So if I'm honest, I would probably still play with the Extreme.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. I mean, yeah, it's such a popular racket. I mean, all the guys like. I'm pretty sure that Mozzetti uses it, doesn't he? It's just painted as a boom. I'm pretty sure. Like I saw it in person. I was like, Berrettini. Like there's so many guys using that racket, especially on like the Futures Tour as well. It's such a good frame. But
yeah, I think again, there's no right or wrong. You know, okay, if you're a serve volley player, maybe you would want a bit more control than this, or you might want a bit more feel than the Gravity. But I think it's just about trying those things and just giving yourself enough time to try them in different conditions, and that's the most important thing. I mean, play some points with them. Don't just hit with them.
Yeah,
you know, play with
you
points.
You could feel great out the middle with that, but then
you know, I think
it's
a real good thing to do. Just play some points, like you say, in the corners.
Yeah.
How does it feel when you're under pressure, when you're defending, when you're attacking? I think it's just about just having that variation of trying them and just kind of even trying them out for a week.
Yeah.
You know, giving yourself that bit of block of time. You know, not just kind of hitting with it for 10 minutes and kind of going, oh, that feels nice, because you put a new racket in anybody's hand, they go, this is brilliant, and they play awesome because they're more positive about playing, and they're like, oh, I've got such a great racket. But I think that it's just really important just to give yourself that time with a new racket.
I think the biggest takeaway to remember about all these rackets and like testing them out is they're not magic wands. Like that's what, you know, Dan's saying, like they're not magic wands. Like you're not going to pick them up and all of a sudden be able to play like Rog. Do you know what I mean? It's like you know, they're going to give you percentages. Do you know what I mean? They're going to give you slight bits of more power. They're going to give you, you know, slight bit more spin, maybe a bit more flat control, something like that. So it's not that you're going to switch to a racket and all of a sudden you're going to be able to like hit spin like Rafa. You know, it is partly how the racket is made, like the string pattern, you know, the weight, everything like that. But then also the big thing is your belief about the racket. So these things, you know, like this for me, the Gravity, it's all about power and it's all about spin and it's all about being quite forgiving, in my opinion. But it's a pro frame, in my opinion, a pro frame that is available on the shelf. So it's giving you quite a lot, but then, you know, it's not gonna, you know, it's again, like it's not gonna add like loads and loads of power to your game. It's just gonna give you that little bit extra. And yeah, like Dan said, it's a lot about how you feel about the racket. So it's, you know, do you have belief that when you're going into the corners that you can keep control of this thing? So yeah, it's, you know, and then getting huge benefit from the serve, like you're probably getting more pop, more spin. So again, like it's, the big skill is identifying which racket is better suited to your game and knowing how to choose them, because there's so many rackets out there now. There's one for every game style, really. So
and I think it goes back to the importance of, if you are trying out the racket, that you ask the player who you're hitting with or you're playing points against in terms of how they feel the difference than you played with your other rackets. You know, do they feel the ball coming through a little bit quicker? Do they feel the ball coming through a little bit more spin? You know, they said that you were stronger in the corners with that racket or something. It's very important to get that sort of feedback as well, because it's not just generally how you feel. It's sometimes of how it makes your opponent feel.
And that's what I do a lot with these racket reviews. I ask people, like when I'm hitting, like how was my ball coming through, like, you know, and it was something that I was doing with the Head Extreme when I first switched to it. I was like, how's my ball coming through? And people obviously know me. I was playing with a pro staff, like the RF, the big, you know, the big Bertha, and people are like, oh, you know, you're not hitting the ball as heavy, you know. So I'm like, okay, I'm adding a little bit more weight. I'm adding, you know, I'm looking at the specs of the pro staff, that sort of thing. So it's important, like Dan says, get feedback from people around you. Like, you know, is the ball coming off heavier? Is it getting more spin? Are you getting more depth? You know, like really test these rackets out, put them through their paces, go outside, play indoors, different balls, different conditions. So yeah, but yeah, give this a go. If you want power, if you want spin, Gravity's the way to go.
Probably the one for you.
Thanks for coming on again. Appreciate it. 3 times in a row.